welcome. If you're a few minutes early for our live, well done. Perfect time to go grab some props. So, where are mine? If you've got your peanut, have your peanut handy. Don't have a peanut, do not worry. You could also get a nice chunky blanket and roll it up. So this is folded in four, and then I'm going to roll it up to make a nice tight blanket sausage as such. If you wanted to, you could also have blocks. If you had blocks, you could have a bolster or some cushions as well. And I know that some of my regulars might even have their Makalu handy. So if you've got some Makalu at home, go get your Makalu, go get your peanut, go get your props. Any other comfy time accessories that you might need, now is the time to gather them. Give you a few moments, we'll all get organised. If you have everything that you need, you can lie down, get comfy. Sometimes once you lie down, you might realise that you do actually need some other bits and pieces, maybe your socks, maybe a warmer layer. Even if you don't need them now, it's a good idea to have them nearby, so if you do get cold, and yin tends to be more of a cooling practice, then you can just have everything that you need to stay nice and comfy through the class and then into our relaxation at the end. Is it officially 15:15? So many different clocks, all different times.
It's 14 past. One more minute.
One more minute. Countdown to yin. As you're practicing at home, Ran's on the comms, is on the computer. It looks like he's actually already answering some people's messages, so if you have a message, you can type it and Ran will read it, and he might tell me, especially if you're really confused about what I'm saying or you're not sure what's happening. Quick recap on the props that we might be using tonight. If you happen to have your Makalu, you can use your Makalu. If you have a peanut, 2 balls in a sock, handy prop to have for tonight. If you don't have those things, you can get a nice chunky firm blanket and roll it up and make a bit of a blanket cylinder. If you've got blocks, you could use blocks. This is all just for the first pose as well. There's just a lot of options. And if you have a bolster, you can use a bolster. And then what we're going to do is just lie on these props. So I'm going to get you to settle into position and then just give you a little bit more of an introduction. But I feel like a lot of us have been sitting all day, so it's a good time to lie down. And to lie down in a way that gives you a gentle sense of opening through the front of the chest and the front of the shoulders. So I could lie on my bolster and just breathe into this. I know some people at home have a foam roller. I do not find that to be a comfortable position on a foam roller. The edge digs in a bit too much. It's good on a blanket though. You can be sitting on the ground and then just lie back over your blanket. If you are on the foam roller instead, be all the way on the roller and just lie back from there. If you have blocks, you can have them either way. The more intense dig into you angle, and another one for your head. Ooh, watch out that your head block doesn't tip over. Or the less intense sideways angle, and another block for your head. And then if you have your Makalu, just pull out the littlest ones Little lotus seed. Other little lotus seed. And I'd be lying down on these, but for me, it could be here, it could be lower down. Just find a place that's going to appreciate some sustained massage, and you might like to have your head block in place while you're here. Pop those guys into position, and then from here, settling in. So, hopefully that wasn't too many options. You found one that feels good for you. I reckon if in doubt, just have a pillow and just lie back over the pillow. That's a great one. I want you to be in a position as well where you feel the ground beneath you. Because we'll begin this practice tonight by honouring the traditional owners and custodians of the ground beneath our feet. So here in Northcote, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, you might know the original Indigenous owners of the ground where you are. Having a moment now to send respect. Honouring as well the wisdom traditions that have passed these amazing techniques of yoga and meditation down to us today. And honouring your own energy that you bring to your practice tonight. Thanking yourself for taking this time in your week for self-care. With everything going on in our world right now, these practices that allow us to have a little bit of breathing space, a little time to down-regulate our nervous systems, some time to decompress, can be so powerful and so helpful. And as you move through your practice tonight, I'd like you to move with a sense of self-care. And so with each of the different postures, I'll be giving you options. If you know an option that feels better for you, then listen to your body, take your option. If none of the things I'm saying feel right, you're welcome to do your own thing. As well, you might choose to come out of the pose before I do, and that's absolutely fine. When we're in our yin practice, we want to be finding this balance of not too much sensation, where we're actually in pain and starting to feel more stressed, not too little sensation where we get bored because it doesn't feel like anything is happening, it doesn't feel productive. Somewhere in the middle. Enough sensation that it feels productive, we feel like we're starting to move things. Sometimes it can be pretty strong, especially if we're working in a part of the body where it's a particularly tight spot or somewhere that we tend to hold tension. And those are the places that we want to be really gentle with ourselves. It can be really productive to work into those places so we do feel a bit more intensity. But just finding that level where we're actually feeling a sense of release. Not where it feels like we're just pushing ourselves. You might like a different arm position now. If you have your arms out by your sides or reaching back behind, that will tend to be a little bit more intense than just your arms by your side, so that might be something you can explore. If you're working with your makalu, you might like to bring them a little bit lower down your spine, find a different spot to work on. And you might also explore how it feels to have bent elbows rather than straight arms. Even just a subtle little difference in location with our arms can find a whole lot of different sensations, so we have something new to explore. We do not want to be feeling any numbness or tingling coming down the arms. That's a sign that there's a nerve that's not in a very happy position. We want to readjust, get more comfy. And so from here, this could be a nice moment to really explore with your breath. I find, having been here for a while, there's already a little bit more space. Gravity has been doing some of the work for us here. And And opening the chest up if we've been on a more high up bolster or rolled up blanket. If we're on a smaller height, like a Makalu, we might be feeling the after effects of that sustained compression into that tight spot. Might be feeling that extra circulation flowing there once we've released that, when we change. I'm going to be quiet for the next 4 or 5 breaths, just to give you this space to come into your own internal awareness. From here, taking your time, easing your way off your block or your bolster or your Makalu or your blanket, just gradually making your way down to the ground. Into your rebound pose. It could be just knees bent, leaning in on each other. Keep a pillow if you like a pillow. But have your legs long, just whatever you're comfy with. Whatever feels like a nice neutral shape to feel into the after effects of the pose. Notice how things might have evolved, how things might be feeling different. If I'm ever coming out of the rebound and you want to stay a little bit longer, stay as long as you like, it's your practice. I'm going to start moving into a twist, and join me if you're ready, otherwise take your time. So, I'm going to be lying on my side. If this is comfortable for your neck with your head on the floor, go with that. Otherwise, you can put a pillow or a block underneath your head, whatever you need to keep your neck comfortable. We could be taking the top arm up and over. That arm could be long, or it could be bent, or we could put a pillow or a block underneath that arm as well if it doesn't feel good hanging out in space. And we could also keep the knees as they are, or we could lengthen out the bottom leg if you want a little bit more intensity through the outside of that hip. And a little bit further to go to get to the ground will give you more space to expand into in your twist. So this feels like the strongest variation for me with my knee down, and actually my elbow bent is stronger for me. You could pillow underneath it, you could bring that bottom knee back in, and you could change the angle of that arm if you need to. So setting yourself up in the version of the twist that feels right for you. Set my timer. Maybe not too loud tonight. I'm going to do the pose with you because I feel weird just sitting there looking at a webcam. And then we have this time to settle in. And so often when we first come in to a particular shape with the body, we feel the loudest places, the sensations that feel the most intense. So we can explore into that with our mind and with our awareness. If it feels like there's any unnecessary effort anywhere, like if we're having to really work to keep our balance, or if it feels like a limb extending into space is putting pressure on the area around it to try and stabilize, that's where we could put a prop underneath for more support, or just change our position a little bit. Especially with this top arm stretching out, you can feel some really different sensations of that arm just in a slightly different position. So that's a great aspect of this pose to explore into. Good way to turn the volume up or down on the intensity of the sensation while you're here. Another thing that I love to do hanging out in a twist is really emphasize the breath. Because as you inhale, you might feel that extra stretch into all the muscles around the ribs and the chest. And then with that exhale, sometimes you will feel an immediate sense of release. Sometimes it can be really gradual. Just a sense of tuning into more subtle layers of sensation while you're here. And if the breath is not so useful for you to tune into, you might notice the places where your body touches the ground. That feeling of being held and supported by the earth beneath. Head can be on any angle that feels good for you. Doesn't have to be looking towards the outstretched hand. Could be more in line with the chest, could be looking forwards. Sometimes our neck needs a little bit of an extra check-in just to make sure that it is actually as relaxed as it possibly can be in this position. And we will take that sense of neck relaxation with us into our rebound. We'll ease our arm back. Being really gentle with yourself as you make your way into your rebound. Take it really slow. Sometimes it even feels useful to use an arm to help a leg. Making your way lying on your back. It's my preferred option. Legs long. But just notice what your body is responding to tonight. Maybe it's knees bent. Maybe it's even sitting or lying on your side. You just want to be in a position that feels kind of neutral. So you can notice the after effects of the shape that you've just been in. Your arms might be feeling really different between the one that was just reaching out and the one that hasn't had its turn yet. You might notice differences in awareness along each side of the spine, maybe into the legs. Might feel like one lung is bigger now. All kinds of interesting things to observe. You're welcome to just roll over. I'm going to swap ends of my mat so I can keep facing the front. So, quick recap. You don't have to match what you did on your first side, especially if both sides feel different within your body. But our options were head on the ground or something supportive. Top arm could reach out, that elbow could be bent, that arm could find a different angle, or we could put something underneath that arm for more support. Our knees can be stacked. Or you might bring the bottom leg long so the top knee has a little further to go down to the ground. And then whatever feels good for your neck. The position that is feeling the most comfortable. Very, very normal to notice differences between the sides of the body. Especially in a posture like this one where a lot of the sensation might be showing up through the front of the chest, front of the shoulder. You might just be feeling the after effects of the different things that we do with both of our arms. We might also be feeling the difference of this being the second side, so we've already done some things on the first side. I'm not sure if this is the case for you, but weirdly my second side always seems to go quicker time-wise. And often as well, we just have a side of the body that's habitually a little more tight or a little bit more loose. Sometimes it's our structure, just the way that our bones are made. Sometimes it might be a postural difference or a movement habit. So it's all just really interesting information to notice, to explore. We don't want to get too caught up in analysis in our yin practice. Just continuing that exploration with your breath, with your awareness. Maybe even exploring some slightly more deliberate, deeper breaths. Feeling into how the expansion of the rib cage will affect all of the structures around it. It can be nice as well on the exhale to slowly lengthen that breath out. Sending a soothing message to the nervous system, but gradually lengthening that breath out. Could also be a good time just to feel into our connection to the earth beneath us. And just have a few more long, deep breaths here. Easing your way into your rebound, whether that's lying on your back or another position that works better for you. Feeling that new connection to the floor. Feeling how things might have evolved a little. And for some of us, this next pose will also be lying on our back. If you have sensitive knees, that's probably the option I'd choose. Just lying on your back, drawing the knees in. If you're using these guys before and you wanted to bring them back into a place that feels like would appreciate a massage, you're welcome to do that. You could also have a pillow underneath your hips as you draw the knees in. Happy baby would be an option here as well. That's the lying on your back options. If you are comfortable hanging out in a child's pose for a while, your choice, toes together, knees wide and stretching forward, or legs underneath you. If you're in the mood for a slightly more intense shoulder situation, don't need 2 blocks, but that's just what works out best for me. I can have my elbows on my block and my forehead resting down, breathing into this. Works best for me because I've got short arms. If you've got longer arms, you can also have your elbows on like a bolster type situation. You can pull a pillow off your couch, put your elbows on that. I think I'm just going to go for regular child pose, no extra shoulder intensity tonight. See how that feels for you. Ooh, forgotten option. Bolster supported child's pose. So we could be child's posing front down or lying on the back, drawing the knees in with a wide selection of different props, either under our hips, under the chest, or if you feel like a shoulder adventure, under the elbows. Great time to check back into that intention of self-care. Which of these shapes is going to feel the most useful tonight? Where can we find that balance of enough sensation that we feel like the pose is productive, but not too much that it feels like it's putting us in a position that's making us more stressed in the mind or in the body? We want to be in something that feels good to settle into, not a shape that we're just counting down the moments until we can get out. Might be a nice time to explore how the breath feels through the back of the chest, back of the rib cage. Thinking about encouraging a little more space between the shoulder blades as each inhale flows in, the lungs expand. Maybe a sense of letting the ground hold us and support us on the breath out, releasing with that exhale. If you have your head on a bolster, you might choose to turn your neck to the other side. Just a few more long, comfortable breaths from here. Taking your time, easing into your rebound. Choosing the shape that feels right for your body tonight. Where you have that opportunity to notice how you're feeling after emerging from the pose. Always a good idea to drink plenty of water when you're doing yin. Especially when you're teaching and talking a lot. One of our goals with this practice is to keep our connective tissues hydrated so they can glide and slide against each other. So drinking plenty of water is helpful with that process. There's quite a difference in intensity in these next options. And if you're working with sensitive knees, I would not choose the one I'm about to show you. It's a dragon pose. So I can bring my foot forwards. So many different types of dragon. I can be up on my blocks, or if I don't have blocks, up on my thigh. I might like to come down lower on those blocks, maybe with my elbows, maybe down to the ground. Choose an angle that feels right for you with that foot and that knee. It doesn't have to be straight ahead. If that is not going to be a good situation for your knee, or just not right for your pelvis tonight, or not a comfortable and relaxing choice for you, we also have the upside down dragon. So if you have a foam roller, you could use a foam roller as well for this. I know a few of you have got them at home. Upside down dragon, I start lying on my back. Might not even need anything underneath the hips. You could also just draw one knee in. Otherwise, target area is front of this hip. As I draw that other knee in, I can just hold my knee with my hand. It's going to look a little bit awkward with me demoing it. It's not the one I choose for me, but you can hold on to your foot. For me, that means this leg's floating in space now, so I just come back to holding on to that thigh instead. If you happen to have a yoga strap handy, that can be a good arm extension option. I'm going to go in reverse order from this lying down dragon with my leg up and bent, or drawing in this knee, remembering target area, front of the other hip, or full force dragon, high dragon actually, with the hand on the leg, or the arms coming down, maybe bringing in some blocks. This one, actually I'm going to start the timer because some of you have probably been there for a while already. So, Lying on the back, it does tend to be more about the hip flexor open on the long leg side. For this one, if I'm up high, that is what I'm feeling. More sensation through the front of the other hip. But as I come down, it starts to be a bit more of a gluteal stretch. I'm still feeling a bit of this hip flexor action, but you might feel it more into the hamstrings, more into the groins. You might be feeling sensation in between the shoulders as well. And if you're lying down, you might be feeling a sense of release for the lower back. We do not want to feel discomfort for the knees or the lower back, anytime really, but especially if we're in one of these postures where we're in an asymmetrical position with the legs and the hips and a bit of load bearing on the knees. We want to make sure that we're feeling really comfortable with that situation. Comfortable may not be the word for the dragon pose. You just don't want to be feeling any pressure on those particular parts of the body. This might be one of those times where we choose to regulate the level of sensation between something that does feel a bit more intense, targeting some strong, densely layered muscles, targeting some muscles that if we've been sitting all day, might be feeling this quite a lot right now. But I mean, this pose is called dragon for a reason. It's always pretty fierce. Oh, Aran's doing dragon in solidarity. It can be a useful check-in just to notice how your face is feeling, how your jaw is feeling, how your shoulders are feeling. If you've got particular places in your body that do tend to tense up even when they don't need to, have a little check-in with them now. See if there is any extra effort that actually isn't required here. If it feels impossible to relax your face and your jaw, maybe ease out a little bit. Choose a less full-on version. So, how do we get out of this? Slowly and carefully. Easing your way up. Taking your time, take longer than you think you need. If you've been doing the face down dragon, whatever's easier in terms of coming down to your belly and just lying down, or coming onto your back. If you've been doing the lying on your back version, you might feel really good just hanging out with both legs long. You might feel like you want to have a rest from that extension through the lower part of the spine and just ease down to the ground. This can be a great pose for checking in with your legs, seeing if one of them feels a bit longer, or like the ground might have changed shape underneath one of your hips. Checking in with the areas that you felt were directly targeted in that particular shape, and then exploring out from there, seeing what else you notice. Ready for our second side. If you're not, hang out longer in your rebound, you'll get less dragon time. So, we can have that bolster underneath our hips as we draw the other knee in. Or explore a different leg-foot angle, remembering target area, front of the long leg, front of that hip there. Or we could make our way up to kneel, other leg to before. being up high or coming down lower to the hands or to the blocks. Do not be surprised if it is a different situation between both sides. Just settling into what you notice. It's okay as well if you need a bit more support on one side than the other. Just go with what your body needs. And practicing with that attitude of self-care. We'll probably all need a slightly different leg angle to find the subtle variation of this pose that feels best in our bodies tonight, so feel free to experiment with that. Be a good time to come back to feeling into the ground beneath us. Gravity is often the main force that's taking us deeper into these yin shapes. Sometimes a little bit of muscular engagement feels useful or necessary, especially if it's a part of your body that feels vulnerable. Sometimes though, we might notice that we're unconsciously resisting. We're tensing up an area of the body that doesn't need to as we try and hold ourselves up. So sometimes more support can be useful with that, and sometimes it's just a process of awareness, of checking in. So, classic example could be our arms and shoulders in this lizard lunge. And I don't think anyone would actually be trying to hold themselves up by tensing the muscles of the face, but that happens anyway, so check in with that. If you're feeling like there's tension in the jaw that's not going to relax just by noticing it, sometimes some yawns can be really helpful with that. And sometimes just that process of noticing the parts of your body that do tend to hold on a little bit more than they need to. And just that gradual evolution of awareness. Gently, gradually, easing your way out, coming to a lying on your back rebound or a lying on your belly rebound, finding the shape that feels right in your body tonight. A neutral position where you can notice the after effects of the posture you've just been in. Check in with both your legs, with your whole body. And so our next shape can be a seated forward bend, or a back bend, or a supine pose, lying down. I'll show you the seated one first because I'm already sitting up. Feel free to bring in a little extra height underneath the hips. Either feet together and knees wide, sitting upright, absolutely fine with this. If this isn't a good knee position for you, you're welcome just to go with longer legs as well. I feel like this variation is the only one where the longer legs will make sense. So that's one option, feet together, knees wide, maybe a bit of cushioning underneath. If you feel comfortable coming forwards, that could be onto a bolster or lower down, just onto the ground. If you feel like you have some unfinished shoulder business, you might like to come into this shape with the feet together and the knees wide, finding a tender squash with your peanut or with your Markaloos through the upper body, breathing into this, optional support underneath the head. Option as well, if you've got these guys, to come in to a bit of a glute massage situation with that. All of these, if you need a pillow underneath your head, have a pillow underneath your head. I'm going to give some different arm and shoulder options as well, but I'll set my timer from here. This is a longer hold. So choose an option that you feel comfortable hanging out in for a while, or just remember that you can always ease out earlier if you feel like you've had enough time. So arms by the sides or hands just gently resting on the belly can be a nice relaxing lying on the back option. I'm going to change my angle so you can see my arms better. Because we could also go wide to the sides, back behind, or holding elbows. And if you've chosen a sitting upright version, I like to clear all of the props you've scattered around you. So with the sitting up version, if you really want to go there with your shoulders tonight, sometimes I like to wrap my arms together and fold forwards from here. I'll give us a few cues to change sides or to change arm positions. So if you're in something asymmetrical, don't worry about trying to keep track, I'll just let you know. This could be another nice moment just to check in with your neck and make sure that your neck is in its most comfortable position here, adding any extra support if you need. And this could be a good time to change arms if you chose to wrap them together. And if you're lying on your back, you can also explore some different arm positions. If you had your arms wrapped before, you might like to release that now. If you're lying on your back and it starts to feel a little too intense with those arms reaching back, you could always just bring them gently back to the belly. You also have the option of just popping some extra pillows underneath each leg if it starts to feel like the legs hanging out in space is getting a little too strong in terms of sensation. few more long, deep breaths before you start to think about easing your way up. I like to use your hands to gently help the legs come back together. Slowly easing your way back to lie on your back. As we've been doing, taking this time to check in, to feel the after effects of the posture we've just been in. Extra check-in for this pose now because we're going to be making our way towards a little neck massage and then into our relaxation from here. So if you need some more cozy layers or a blanket, go and get them now. For the massage, you can use a block, you can use a peanut, 2 balls in a sock. For my Makalu people, you can stick the 2 smallest elements onto the wobbly base. And if you don't have any of these things, but you have a pillow, just have a pillow underneath your head instead. And if you have a really sensitive neck, choose the pillow as the softest, gentlest option. Oh, if you've got a foam roller is another option. There are a lot of ways you can massage your neck. So, get your things, get your blankie, get your socks if you need socks, get your neck massaging accessories, and maybe stay sitting up as I show you what this looks like, and then come to lie down, or just be where you can see me. So, pillow underneath your head looks like that. You might keep it nearby for the other options as well. Peanut, I'm going for, actually I don't want the pillow for the peanut. So, if you feel the back of your skull, for the bit that's overhanging, the bit where your neck joins your head at that occipital point, and if you feel it with your fingers and feel those dense, strong muscles there, they're the ones we want to massage. So it could be with the 2 balls, and I usually just have to hold the ends to keep this in place where I want it. It can be with the Makalu, breathing into it from there. It can be with the edge of the block. So I would angle it so it feels like it's getting into those strong muscles, supporting the weight of the head. So lying down, for me, fingers just underneath the edge of the block to get my ideal block massage angle. I don't know why I've got my legs like this. You don't have to. You can have your knees together. You can have your legs long. This is where you could also get your blankets and get comfortable. And you might like to turn out your lights as well, so it's relaxing for your eyes. So the different neck movements. Oh, foam roller. You just have the foam roller underneath your neck. Different movements we can do is a little bit of gentle side to side. It might feel tempting to push down with your head, but less is more when it comes to neck massage. Go gently with yourself. Just the weight of the head is enough. And on the pillow, it's just focusing on a smooth, gliding movement, letting the head be held and supported by the pillow as the body rests on the ground. So that's side to side. We can also do some little nods, gently tucking the chin in and then tilting it back. And we can combine those moves, turning the head to a side angle, trying the little nods from there. If you felt a bit of jaw tightness before, you might like to come back to some yawns now. You might actually find that you can use your block or your peanut to start to ease into some of those strong muscles around the jaw. And these muscles have a big job of holding up the head. And if our head is forward from the line of the body, or if we're looking up a lot, then they have to work even harder. So if you have found yourself at the computer a lot today, and you're feeling a bit of sensation here now, I'm sure you're not alone, I'm feeling it too. Just being gentle with yourself. Again, feeling into what is a sense of release, even if it feels like you found a tender spot, and what is just making that sensitive spot feel more sensitized. Be gentle with yourself. Noticing whether your body responds to gentle movement or to a sustained hold. If you've just had your head to one side, try the other side. You may feel more or less sensation here. You might want to come back to some jaw yawns. And this could be something you continue with, or something you finish up now. We'll see. But actually feels really good staying with the block, or especially with the pillow underneath your head, then this can be your position for relaxation. But it feels like it would be more relaxing to have something underneath the bend of your knees, like a pillow or a foam roller if you've got your foam roller nearby. Just gathering those extra relaxation accessories, getting really comfy. And I'm not going to allow too much silence in the relaxation. I'm going to give you a little space, but mainly guide you through it. I'm going to begin by feeling in again to the ground beneath us. And this is a position we've returned to throughout our practice tonight. Felt into that sense of support. We've also come back to the earth beneath us as a way to check in within our own bodies and our minds. And we're back here now, that time to observe how our body is feeling following the practice we've just done. Noticing as well our state of mind. And setting an intention now, maybe one of your choice. Maybe just a gentle invitation to give ourselves this time. It's time to move towards relaxation. This time where we feel supported. This time where we don't have to do anything in particular. We can just be with our breath, with the body, with the thoughts as they move through the mind. You might like to gently guide your awareness down to the toes, feeling into those toes, feeling into the soles of the feet, and the tops of the feet and the heels, feeling into the ankles, calves, shins and knees, feeling into thighs, feeling into your hips and your buttocks, feeling into the belly, and beneath the belly, feeling into the lower back, feeling into the chest, and beneath the chest, feeling into the upper back, feeling into shoulders, and feeling into your upper arms, down to your elbows, feeling into your forearms and into your wrists, feeling into the palms of the hands, into the fingers, into the thumbs, and then gently tracing with your awareness back up through fingers, hands, arms, back to shoulders, and feeling into where your shoulders meet your neck. Feeling in throat, into the jaw, into the mouth. I like to create a little bit of space between upper teeth and lower teeth. Letting the jaw gently hang. Feeling into the cheeks, into little muscles around the mouth. Feeling into little muscles around the eyes, into the eyes themselves. Soft gaze or eyes closed. Feeling into the forehead. Feeling into the scalp. Letting your awareness move through the body. Noticing where your mind is drawn to. Might be somewhere that you really noticed in your practice tonight. Might be a new sensation that you're feeling now. Might be a little niggle, a little cranky spot. Maybe somewhere that you know needs a bit of extra nurturing tonight. Just breathe with the sensations in your body as you notice them. Or if it feels useful for you, you might like to use your exhale as a gentle invitation to release. You might like to use the exhale as a way to feel into the ground beneath you and its support. If you've been focusing your area on a particular place, you might like to explore whole body awareness. Next inhale that flows in, think of the energy and oxygen of that breath radiating out to the tips of the fingers, tips of the toes, crown of the head. And your exhale is like a wave of relaxation washing over you. From here, you might like to feel back in again to the ground beneath. And to notice how your body's feeling following the practice that you've done tonight. To notice as well your state of mind, flow of your breath, connection between mind and body and breath. You might like to gently start to move toes, move fingers, gradually reawakening. Maybe a bit more of a stretch with the arms reaching back if that feels right for you tonight. You might like to roll your way gently over onto your side and gradually make your way up to sit from there, taking your time, no rush. I mean, you're at home, you can lay down as long as you like. So, close this portion of the practice. Thanking you all so much for joining me tonight. Wishing you all namaste. Probably not the right time to give you a whole lot of information, but I do have some things that I'm excited about, and I'm going to put all these links in the notes, the conversation, the comment section of this live, so there'll be links to be found. So one of the classes that I used to love to teach in my teaching week was my community Pilates class that's organised by Get Active in Darebin. It was out in a beautiful park. It's for the whole community, and we got like a really wonderfully diverse group of people, sometimes 3 generations, grandma, mum and baby all came to the class. Lots of people from different backgrounds and different cultures, and a really wonderful group energy. So everyone was really sad when we had to finish this term early, but Get Active in Darebin is now online. So I'm going to be sharing a live stream here on the Garden of Yoga Facebook page at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll be sharing Pilates, and knowing that so many older people loved the park sessions, I will be teaching with them in mind. So if there is an older person in your life who is missing out on their opportunity to exercise and to be a part of the community and feel like that rhythm and that routine that movement gives us in our week, definitely tell them about this class and about Ran's class on Monday at 12 o'clock. Would you like to share about your class?
Yeah, I'll be teaching chair yoga on Monday. I absolutely love chair yoga. It's obviously yoga in a chair, and it's an accessible and really supportive type of practice. And I also find that you can sort of explore traditional yoga poses in a whole new way. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to love about it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that on Monday.
This is the only prop I'll be using in my class, or a TheraBand if you've got a TheraBand at home, or a scarf, or a pair of tights. Have some pillows nearby as well, and we do quite a few Zoom classes at our studio. We share them online, and they're really interactive because we can see you on the screen and talk to you, and so it really feels like you're in a class with a group of people, and you get to meet everyone's pets as well, which is a massive bonus, which was a surprise. All our Zoom classes and our Facebook live stream classes are all on gardenofyoga.com.au/schedule. They're all on our schedule. We've got a new podcast episode coming out on Monday with Alicia Leo, which is kirtan and LGBTQI inclusive practices. She used to manage Brunswick Bard's exercise program as well as the kirtans. Anything else I need to tell people about?
I think that's all I can remember.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I love Thursday night yin, so it's such a pleasure to still have this rhythm and this connection with you all in my week. Thank you so much, Ran.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Moby, for providing your music license-free and free to download. We've been listening to Moby's long ambience in these sessions, and if you'd like to listen to them at home, it can be a really nice alternative to the news. My recommendation following our yin practice is to maybe not watch the news tonight, and maybe log out of Facebook now and just do something really nurturing for yourself. Have a shower, have a bath, have a delicious meal if you haven't had your food yet, and settle in for a very cozy, nurturing evening. This is such a sensitive practice that sometimes we can feel extra sensitive afterwards, so it can be really nice just to give ourselves that extra layer of self-care following our yin practice. Thank you all so much for joining us.